Welcome back to the final game of the day here. We got one last one left to go, and it's Evil Geniuses Academy taking on FlyQuest. I'm still Captain Flowers. That's still Crumbs. I'm pretty sure I pointed in the right direction. If I didn't, I apologize. Webcams are tricky, but let's see how tricky this game's going to be, Crumbs. What should we expect from this one?
Well, right now, FlyQuest has been struggling. It's no secret. They started 2-0, looking really good, but they have been on a 0-4 losing streak now. A few of those games have been with Wild Turtle. Half of those have also been with MASH. But more than that, I think the team is still finding a hard time with cohesion. Big was a big shot caller and an important part in those first two wins, but the engages just have not looked nearly as clean as they did in those first 2 days. So looks like, in my opinion, some rough scrims would have probably transferred into worse play on stage, and then you add a new player into the lineup that suddenly changes things up, and you have to start building that dynamic from the get-go when the team is already struggling. Kind of gets rough to slot somebody in if you don't already have cohesive pieces.
Yeah, you can see the stats on the screen right now for Turtle in Academy here in summer of 2020. 1.4 KDA, 34% team's damage. I mean, the damage share isn't terrible, but CSD at 15 being down 12 in Academy and then only having a 1.4 KDA, definitely not the brightest patch of his career for Wild Turtle.
Yeah, and I think that Wild Turtle can be very successful in Academy. Now, obviously, the role of AD is really dependent on your team. How well can you get set up for not only peel, but setting up your lanes? Then you have lane assignment. The mechanics in the fights are pretty decent. There's really nothing outrageous that's happening from his part, but I think the team together is just having a hard time with finding out their identity. Even though they've only really just made one switch from big last split, you have to add Wild Turtle now. So when you have a roster that is really just trying to figure out so many different synergies at the same time with an ever-changing patch, this is where the grind really gets to you, because you don't really get to stop. New patch comes out, patches come out, another one. All the other champions gets nerfed, right? You were really good at playing around the Aphelios and Varus. Now suddenly no one's really playing them that much. They're kind of getting nerfed. People are letting them go through. So what are you playing in the bottom lane? Oh, you got Aphelios. Now there's a Bard and Ziggs you have to deal with. Okay, whoa, what's going on? So these things can overwhelm teams, and if they're going down a negative spiral like a losing streak, it can compound itself. So we just need to see them come up with something that is easy to execute, like the big Nautilus, and just get some fights going around Dragon like we know teams need to do, and get yourself a win that way.
Yeah, you're talking about the losing streak being a compounding factor in these things, and it really is just like a real-life debuff. When you're just losing every single game and the reality of things aren't working is just evident there in front of you with that 0 in the win column, it makes everything feel worse. It makes it that much easier to get frustrated with everything. It makes it that much harder to find your success. And for the side of Evil Geniuses Academy, this is a team that is doing much better than FlyQuest is doing right now, and we're expecting them to probably have a pretty good game against them here today.
Yeah, I think that this team is slowly ramping up. We saw them go all the way to the finals last split. Now they upgraded their top laner with Huni now, so this should be a much stronger squad, and they're finally starting to show that. A big difference from last time has been Giyu no longer playing those melee champions like the Aurelius. He still busted out every now and then, but he actually has shown some pretty good performances on the Orianna and other mages. So that combined with a bottom lane that actually has a decent Senna Karma makes it a pretty explosive team, where you also have to deal with Huni, who, whether he runs it down in lane or crushes lane, he's still a super relevant in team fights. So despite the laning phase, he's able to be a more impactful top laner than most of the other top laners that we have in the league, which is actually an incredible trait. Like, I cannot stress enough how important it is to do that. The best player that I think ever lived that could do that, or I can't say ever lived or had played so far. Maybe going a little bit too far there.
I was going to say, you seem to be a big fan here.
Stanley from TPA, Taipei Assassins, when they won Worlds, would almost always lose lane, except when he was on Nidalee. And it didn't matter how far behind you put him in laning phase, he would just be the better team fighter, the better roamer, the better grouping player, and that just made it amazing. Like, you could not punish the top lane, and so I think that's what we're seeing in Huni, where he has a lot of games where the laning phase doesn't look good, but he's much more proficient at team fight than his counterparts. And when the team is drafting those Senna Karmas or the Oriannas, that team fight prowess really gets highlighted.
And I said earlier, EG Academy is doing much better in the standings than FlyQuest Academy, but the reality is they're actually only one game ahead. The reason I said much better is because of the state of the losing streak for FlyQuest. Both of those wins came out early on, and since then it's been that 0-4 slide. So that's really what we want to see from FlyQuest here, is the ability to bounce back from bad times, get back into the good times. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, it's what Bob Ross said. We all go through the bad times and the good times, and sometimes you just got to go through the bad to remind you of the good and get back there along the road. It was something like that. I didn't have the exact wording down, but I'm also not Bob Ross. I can't paint, and I'm just not that motivational.
Everyone can paint. That's what Bob Ross says.
I know that's what Bob Ross says, but to be fair, Bob Ross never met me and my inability to paint. But now that we're here, let's take a look at where these bands are, because we're already all the way through them. It's LeBlanc, it's Twisted Fate, it's Trundle, Karma, Varus, and Volibear all band away. EG Academy going to go ahead and make that first pick a Callista, and FlyQuest Academy will immediately respond, picking up the FLYA.
Now, I think this is going to be the Callista to the bottom lane. It's just so safe to play, but it is still viable to play Callista top if you have a player that can pull it off. You can obliterate the top lane. Like, it is not even close how obnoxious you can be in the top lane. Halo Blades Callista just jumps on right at you, but I think that if Huni is ever to bust it out, it might be in another game, something that maybe is a playoff match, so you can just surprise your opponents. But in the meantime, FlyQuest will just give us with the same old, the tried and tested, the true, the very standard Aphelios Orianna. It's the same idea behind revealing your hand with the Jace Nidalee Ezreal from our last game. You know what they're going for. They're going for that easy late game scaling composition, and with Huni locking in the Rumble, you know that they can fight early with the Callista. They're going to have so much pressure around that dragon. I think picks like Nautilus can do a lot here when you synergize with the Rumble. We could just drop that ult and single out a specific target. Instead, it's going to be the Jarvan. So it is a fantastic pick here, Jarvan. You only pick Jarvan when you're dealing with champions that don't have dashes. Look at who FlyQuest picked.
All right, so two things. Number one, I fully expect this to not be Callista top now that they have locked in Rumble, just because it is such an iconic champion for Huni. I think you're trolling if you don't give it to him. Number two, the Rumble and Jarvan combination, I call it dunk soup, because Jarvan makes the bowl by creating the Cataclysm with the walls, and Huni throws all that junk in there. Just the equalizer, the flame spitter, cook it up, bring it to a sizzle. There's a whole bunch of like pineapples and stuff in there if it turns into the Rumble in the jungle
it's like a Hawaiian soup.
Yeah, it's like a Hawaiian soup in the jungle. These two champions together do so much work with those ultis in tandem. I love to see this combination. It has so much team fight potential. It has so much engage. I love this. Last time around, we criticized the draft that came out from TLA because we said it's too difficult to execute. It's too much poke. This is some easy stuff right here, my friend. This is League of Legends 101, and I am all about it. FlyQuest Academy going to round out their first half of the draft here, picking up the Thresh, making sure they got some peel power for that Aphelios, as well as some pick potential for themselves.
Yeah, and then EG banning out the Riven because you know that Revenge can play Riven into the Rumble. It's a really tough matchup for the Rumble. But I also wanted to talk more about Rumble specifically because he's not seeing a lot of play around the world. In fact, I don't think we've ever seen him in the LCS. I don't think, or this split, I don't think LEC has played him either. I think only LPL has been playing Rumble, and it's Rumble mid from Doinby, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't seen all the 130 games that they have, but that's the ones that I've noticed, and he is really powerful still. The nerfs that Rumble received earlier were not to his damage, it was to the scrap shield. So the laning phase can be weaker, but his ability to win these early dragon fights is unparalleled. His ability to combo and hurt from a distance, essentially nullifying a lot of these late game immobile repositioning champions, is amazing, and combined with a Kalista that wants to snowball, EG can run away with this game, and this is where it gets really spicy, because Giyu's Irelia is always a treat to watch. Whether he goes 4-0 or 0-4, he always finds a way to engage, to just somehow outplay you, and combined with the Nautilus, this is the combination that I talked about earlier before the Jarvan was picked. Nautilus Rumble is insane. It obliterates a specific target. You don't even need to see them to just delete them.
Okay, so I just had an epiphany, Crumbs. Like, my brain just became 3 times its normal size. Because I'm looking at this Irelia, and we made the soup analogy earlier. Jarvan provides the bowl, Rumble provides the soup. Well, what's Irelia doing? She's throwing the ulti in there? Yeah, it's the spoons, it's the forks. She's providing the utensils. Why do we not have a Chef Irelia skin with spoons and forks and knives floating around her instead of the blades? She fires out the ulti. It's the whole kitchenware set. Just the whole thing. She does her W, she stands there and spins. It's a plate spinning above her head. Riot, Skins team, are you guys paying attention? Chef Irelia, this is fantastic stuff, and it completes my dunk soup analogy so well. Don't let me down here. I've got faith in you guys. And taking a look across the board, it's also going to be the Rek'Sai picked up with the Aatrox there for the second half of the draft for FlyQuest Academy. I don't have any analogies about that one.
I mean, I'm still thinking about the Aurelia chef. It could be the sushi chef. It could be any kind of chef. I think that all of them work. And speaking of what works, Rek'Sai is a good matchup into the Jarvan. Now, he has to gank so much and get really far ahead, because Rek'Sai right now struggles to farm. So does the Jarvan, but Jarvan will always be able to itemize pure tank and be really useful, while Rek'Sai, not so much. She's definitely more reliant on items.
Yeah, Rek'Sai is one of those champions that you really pick to get ahead early, just because her later on 5v5 teamfight pressure just isn't the same as something like Jarvan that has such an impactful ulti and has the ability to really just change the flow of things with the proper initiation. So we'll see. We'll see if FlyQuest can bring it back. We'll see if FlyQuest can get themselves out of that losing streak, out of that 0-4 hole that they've dug themselves into, or if EG will be able to add another one to the win column. We're about to step away to build up some game delay, but once we come back, we are going to have this game from the start. Don't you miss it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final game of the day we got lined up here for y'all. It's EG Academy going up against FlyQuest Academy. We've built that competitive integrity delay, constructed from the ground up with nothing but quality ingredients, just like the soup being constructed by evil geniuses here at this team fight. Me and Crumbs, I'm not going to lie, me and Crumbs been talking about how hungry we are because we keep making these food analogies for the past 2 games, and I really wish I had a spicy
We're hungry for good League of Legends flowers, and that's what we're gonna get because we actually got a pretty spicy draft there out of EG that keeps delivering us the combo of Rumble Irelia that is just all about that early game. So I like what I see out of them, whereas FlyQuest is just being reserved and saying no, we're gonna still stick to the tried and tested, the true Orianna and Aphelios that we all know how they work. We've seen it all year long.
Yeah, these 2 team compositions are going to have more similar goals than what we saw between the teams last time around. Last time there was a pretty big disparity in what they were trying to accomplish, how they wanted to play the game. But this time around, it's just who's going to team fight it better, right? You look at Aphelios, you look at his power in team fights, especially once he's at that 2-item spike and he's got the Runance Hurricane to really make sure he's distributing those gun effects to as many different targets as possible. Look at Orianna with big shockwaves. Compare that to the EG lineup, and it's who's got the better execution, who's able to punish their opponents when they just step a little bit too close together. I think this one should be a lot of fun to watch.
I definitely love watching any game that has a lot of early game crowd control and damage because you know that the teams have to play to those win conditions. You can expect them to not hold back and commit to those early fights. I'm talking those double, triple TPs into the bottom lane, 10 5v5s down there before level 6 is the kind of games that we love to see because that means everybody's committed. Everybody wants to be a part of the play. They know that if they can just start getting the ball rolling for their team, they can start mounting those objectives and then just run away with the game. As it's become more and more apparent, you gotta stack objectives.
Well, here we go. You mentioned in Champ Select, you wanted to see Rek'Sai get off to a good start. We want to see Fnatic pop off on this early. Let's see if he can do it. Because he doesn't have that ability that we were talking about to have those big impacts in the later on team fights. It's going to be up to him to make sure that he has left his mark on the game by the time that 25-minute mark rolls around. So I don't know if I've ever told you my opinion on early game junglers, Crumbs, but usually when I see a champion like Rek'Sai picked, if I look at that player and see their score as 0, 0, and 0, by the time they hit level 7, I give them all of level 6 to use their ultimate and make a play. If you're 0, 0, 0 at level 7 and you pick a strict early game champion like Rek'Sai, why'd you pick Rek'Sai? Why?
Would you rather see them 0, 2, 0 after they try to...
Yes, because that means they were at least trying something. If you're 0, 0, 0, that means you're doing PvE, kill wolves for the village elder MMO crap for the first 10 minutes of the game, when you should not be doing that if you're Rek'Sai. I want to see you try to make a play. If you goof up, that at least means that your brain was in the right place, but the team either wasn't on the same page or you had a misexecution, right? I want to see good brain coming out from the jungling here from Fnatic. Let's see if we get it.
Oh, look at Huni being so obnoxious right now. So not only does he stop Revenge from getting a leash, so Jarvan is going to be a lot stronger here. Now you can go cheese the bottom lane, and now he can also stop Revenge, who I'm pretty sure missed out on some CS, and now they get to go into the bottom lane. Wild Turtle or Big might be in some trouble.
Oh, nice hook coming out from Matt, making sure that they're able to find the lockdown onto Big. I think he got knocked up, but it just didn't show. I don't think the champion got knocked up. Yeah, because
it looks like a good play.
Yeah, he was. I don't know. Maybe he didn't. We'll have to take a look at the replay as Matt's going in again here in the bottom side. Definitely getting some good damage onto Wild Turtle. But yeah, I definitely want to look at the replay on that one.
Oh boy, look at what they just did. EG's just already styling on FlyQuest. They invade the blue buff with Irelia shoving out mid lane. Burned out Fnatic out of the jungle, who now has to be doing wolves, and he might be trying to go now to the opposing team's blue buff, but Jarvan might just be following him around as they move for another crab. Triple might be in some trouble. He doesn't have cleanse.
Oh, knocked up. Good job there from Anda. Triple walks away, wisely recognizing that there's no need for him to use the summoner spells there. He was close enough to the turret. His opponents could not continue the fight, so he takes some damage, but that's it.
I think Giyu's stun might have been on cooldown as well, because had he used that right away, I think Triple would have had to at least burn an exhaust, and now Rek'Sai will be going for the Scuttle Crab. Poor early game champion just getting abused by EG, who've already burned so much in this early game to set the tone. And look at the gold that somehow they've amassed from the bottom lane bullying. Now the wave is gonna crash, but that lead is not gonna be 13 CS. We're gonna take a look at the replay.
Okay, let's see
again.
this. Let's see this. Slam.
Yeah, because he gets placed. It was a visual. It was visual.
Okay.
Visual thing. Because you saw when Anda kind of it looked like he knocked him up, but then after the play, he just appeared away from Thresh. So that should tell you the flip.
Yeah, he appeared away from the Thresh. So although it looked like Jarvan's body flew into Thresh's body and knocked him up into the air, he didn't because he was flayed away in time, and it's just the graphics bugging out a little bit. Okay, mystery solved. Good job. We're like the hold on. What was the like the mystery books that were popular? Like you ever like when you were a little
There's
kid?
a lot.
There's a lot. I'm trying to think
Sherlock
of any of them.
Holmes, Agatha
Yeah,
Christie.
yes. You are Sherlock Holmes, and I am Watson, because you are the smart one, and I'm here too. So we solved the mystery. We figured out what happened. Jarvan was the killer, except he wasn't able to get away with murder because Thresh was ready.
You give me too much credit. Definitely not smart. But more like capable of repeating smart things.
Fair enough, Holmes. Fair enough. Your modesty is welcome here, but we all know who the brains of the operation is. As topside, Huni is doing some good damage on to Revenge here. Double his farm, 40-20, man. That is not a situation you want to be in.
I think this all started from that invade where, so Huni somehow was able to get Revenge to skill his E. Now, I'm not entirely sure if it was during the level 1 that Revenge had to do that, but that doesn't give you anything for the early game to try to trade against the Rumble. So Huni's just having his way, on top of this being his best champion. Like, this is the pick that they went on the winning streaks with Clutch Gaming, where it was pretty much win every single time that they played it, and combined with the Jarvan threat of bullying out your Rek'Sai, knowing that the early game reinforcement that FlyQuest was needed or not going to be there, it's just a nightmare for Revenge, who's now taking even more punishment. Humi's just going to base here, though. He's not going to stick around. He'll let him have this wave.
Yeah, Huni's just deciding to back up. No reason to stick around if there's an opportunity to get a good back. We'll see what items he goes back and decides to purchase. When you look at the side of FlyQuest, you're not looking at champions that want to itemize a lot of resistances. You're not looking at pure tanks. Aatrox and Rek'Sai, both bruisers. So getting early spell penetration like Rumble often likes to do with Sorcerer's Shoes, Leandry's Oblivion Orb, that generally being the core of the champ, is super effective. Does want to make sure he goes for the Seeker's Armband first. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're out there in your solo queue games, if you like to play AP champions, if you sometimes find yourself riding the struggle bus against AD opponents, particularly those that can hit very hard and or like to stack lethality, start buying this item. It is incredibly powerful in laning phase, and once you get the stacks, it's up to about 150% gold efficiency. That means it's like you farmed 50% better than you otherwise did. You missed those cannons, doesn't matter. You might as well have the same stats that a pro would have if they didn't buy Seeker's Arm Guard, simply because you bought Seeker's Arm Guard. It is so good in AP versus AD matches.
Seekers turns you into a pro. Buy now. All right.
Play like the pros. Seeker's Arm Guard.
Ooh, that'd actually be pretty funny. Just an advertising segment for Doran selling his weapons.
Yeah, I would watch that. That could be a pretty good commercial. Yeah. If we ever don't have real commercials and we still need commercial breaks, we need to make fake commercials strictly for Doran. That's good. We'll have to wait. Is Doran the pink guy?
He's the salesman. He's in both.
Yeah, is that who he is? Was that ever confirmed?
Yeah, that's Doran. That's called Doran's shield. So he's got the name on his shield, his ring, and his sword.
Okay, I didn't know if that was actually him or if that was just something that was, some sort of conspiracy theory from the community. Where did you see that that's actually him? Is that common knowledge?
Oh,
Am
I can't
just
remember.
Missing out on this?
Okay. Cannot remember.
Wait, okay, so maybe this is conspiracy theory, and you're just one of the corroborators of said conspiracy.
Cannot confirm or deny.
You're the League of Legends Illuminati, and so is the pink guy at the shop. Doran, whether he may or may not be.
Possibly, maybe yes, maybe so. I don't know, but
All
I
right.
like this story. I think it makes sense. I want to give him a name. I want to give him some credit.
He has to be more than just that pink dude chilling at the base. All right, fair enough. We'll call him Doran for now. We're going to operate on the assumption that that's who he is. Now let's see what Evil Geniuses can accomplish here in this bottom lane. They're looking to make some kind of a move as Wild Turtle, trying to get himself away, has definitely tossed his mat right back into the action. Giyu and Anda coming around from the side, not looking to let these boys escape. Giyu just diving in with reckless abandon. Ladies and gentlemen, this man has no fear. He will grab the kill onto Big. He'll be taken down. Triple makes his way into the bottom lane. He's going to find a revenge kill, but he will also find a quick ticket into the grave. And that is a 3-for-1 play, also costing the teleport out of FlyQuest. Good moves coming in there from the side of Evil Geniuses. Granted, they used a teleport themselves to bring their allies down here to make sure that they have Huni ready to be a part of this fight. And that means they're walking away with a big dub here in this bottom lane.
And that play was a huge continuation of the advantage that Huni got in the top lane. So he burned out that ultimate earlier to get that TP advantage, and then he's able to then TP down where the mid lane and jungle are roaming together. So see how it starts with EG just being super aggressive with their bottom lane, and then watch where the TP comes in, right? Anda dropped the flag, immediately jumps in. Now, here's where I'm thinking, well, could Anda have been the one to tank away and maybe initiate with the flag and drag himself? Maybe. Those are the minor details that I think they could look over and perhaps think, what could we do better? What could we do differently? But other than that, the idea itself was brilliant. And you actually also killed Triple, who doesn't have teleport, but he has Spellbook. So that is how he was able to get down into the bottom lane. So we got a little freebie there. They thought they were only getting 2 people, ended up getting a third one in the mix, despite Triple getting that kill in return. It doesn't matter all that much because the wave was crashed, they got what they wanted, and not a big advantage was claimed in the top lane. Only a single plate was Revenge able to get as a result of that.
Hey, I'm going to be honest with you, man. If we're looking at Giyu and we're looking at that dive, while mid lane we're looking at Triple, looking to find himself a solo kill. Ladies and gentlemen, Triple! He knocks him down. He flashes out of the way. All that needed to be done to make that the perfect play is the emote at the end of it. He opts to not be BM instead, but that was clean coming out from the FlyQuest mid lane.
Giyu did not land that stun. I think that was the window he was looking for. I believe his ultimate was not available just yet, so that stun was really important if he wasn't going to die like that. And underestimated what Orianna could do with those auto attacks, especially with the exhaust already being available to mitigate so much of the damage. She was just going to win that fight if Giyu missed spells, and that's exactly what we saw. Now, it might get a little trickier from here on out because now Giyu's going to have his ultimate back up, and Triple does not have any summoners, whereas Anda has Flash and Cataclysm.
Triple's got his heal.
Okay, sure, but 2-on-1 now.
Okay.
Okay. If right. Anda comes in and suplexes him, you see how the suplex, right? Because he drops that bowl, gets him into the Cataclysm. Really nothing that Orianna can do there.
Suplex soup. Let's see if they can drum up a bowl of that here in the mid lane. I'm not quite sure if Triple's going to give him the opportunity, though. He seems to recognize the danger he may be in and just wants to play back and farm up here. Does manage to even pick up that bonus melee minion there. Easy farm there for him. Good ball management to guarantee that. Fnatic will be seen by that Scryer's Bloom. Drake is up and available. It was EG who grabbed the first one. It looks like it's going to be EG who gets this one as well. FlyQuest in no position to really contest this. They're down 1,500 gold. They don't have priority over the lanes. There's just no reason for this to ever really be something that they want to play for, so they're not going to bother. And that means that Evil Geniuses will have themselves a 2-0 objective lead. You've been talking about it, Crumbs. You have been preaching it from all the highest places in the land. Control the objectives. And so far, that's what we're seeing here with these Drakes from EGA. However, FlyQuest Academy, they grabbed that Rift Herald earlier. Remember, they still have to use the eye. The timer is running out.
Not only do the objectives give you actual win conditions and strengthen your composition if you don't need to, they give you reasons to fight, but they're also quite a bit of a morale boost. If your team is getting the dragons, you're feeling, okay, we're in this, we're doing something, right? My jungler might be 0-0-0 at level 7, but he's getting those Rift Heralds, so he's still doing something.
That's a good call out. I did not notice that had been condition had been met. But hey, they got the kill. He's getting involved. They managed to grab the kill onto Huni. They take down the turret up there in that top side. Now definitely grabbing the double kill here in the bottom lane is going to be taken down, so it's 2 for 1. However, 2 for 1 is a little bit more of a feels goodman when it's only the support grabbing the money on that as opposed to the Aphelios. It's Kalista getting both of the kills there for the side of Evil Geniuses. Now they're getting the Demolish proc here into the bottom lane, trying to use Matt and Anda together to make sure they take down this tier 1. I don't think there's going to be any issue there. It'll take a couple more smacks, couple more whacks. There you go. Now they got stacks. Easy runs.
Yeah, and Revenge can get a tier 2 here. So this is a pretty good trade there for FlyQuest. They needed to get something on the map. Obviously, you don't want to be losing that much on your bot side, but you get something in return. So let's say how this all went down, because there is no Fatal available to pull out Matt when he goes in. So they immediately delete the Aphelios, and then Big just plays this super well. The box hits the first slow. Matt, so I think could Matt
just the hook?
Yeah, he had a really good hook, but I think Matt could have tanked another turret shot before popping that Zonya. So I think he would have tanked another one, survived that one, and then press ultimate, press your stopwatch right there before, and maybe that would have mattered. But if Big had the hook already, then perhaps definitely was meant to go down in that fight.
Either way, like I say, if it goes to Thresh, you're feeling okay about it. If it goes to Thresh, it's not the end of the world. It's still a game that's only about 1,000 gold apart. FlyQuest has actually done well to shorten that gold lead that EG had over them. We're still looking at a 9-kill game over 14 minutes, so relatively bloody by the standards that we normally look at for LCS games. For Academy, I'm not actually sure what the average is across Academy, but this one's at least got some good action for us so far. Big going for the hook. Matt doing a good job stepping out of the way of that, making sure he backs up beyond the maximum range. Fnatic looking to chase after these guys, but a nice flash away from Deathly. Going to keep him alive. Using that ulti to pull his support back to safety. Huni has made his way behind their opponents on FlyQuest, but FlyQuest is saying, flank be damned, we're going in, we're starting this off, we're going to lose our jungler if we're not careful, and Anda's grabbing the kill. Matt going to drop down next. Anda's in the middle of everybody. He's got the Cataclysm down. FlyQuest looking to grab more kills. Shut down credit. Going over to the AD carry as definitely is going to be popped. Giyu looking for his way into the fight, but the fight's already over. Where are you going to go, Giyu? You're going to go home because there's nothing left to do. It's a 1 for 2, and the fight was won by FlyQuest.
Ooh, so Fnatic made it pretty obvious that he was looking to flash onto Deathly, who had the good fingers to flash away from the Rek'Sai. If that knockup would have connected, they would have definitely lost that fight in a much different fashion. So I think that FlyQuest is starting to realize, okay, we can definitely still win this. We need to just play to the strengths of our composition. Now that Deathly does not have flash and you got the spree, he can still be a good target to take down from here on out. But EG, very powerful in these fights with these frontliners. You've got that double stone plate already completed. It was that Huni was not able to be in the fight the second that FlyQuest went to initiate it, which would have been ideal to combo the Jarvan ultimate and then the Nautilus. So that little mismatch, I think, weakened what EG's composition was trying to do, especially since you need it to cause a big enough distraction so that the Aurelia can get in. She is not a tanky champion by any means. She is all damage. She needs much more to go on in a fight than her just flanking. Otherwise, the Orianna can just blow her up like we already saw happen in the mid lane.
Now, what I'm looking at next is, are we going to see Evil Geniuses Academy have the opportunity to layer these 3 ultis, Rumble, Jarvan, Irelia, down correctly around this Drake fight? They've already got 2 Drakes in their pocket. If they can get this third one, put themselves at soul point, it actually gives them a lot of leverage moving forward in this game. And considering they have priority over the bottom river right now, I expect this to be a team fight they win. Yeah, they're only 800 gold ahead, but you've got everybody present and accounted for. You've got all those ultis ready to go. Flash is ready on both Giyu and Huni to make sure they get the job done if one of those carries tries to get away just barely. Scuttle Crab going to be secured now for the extra river control, and the Drake is started up. Big leading the charge. Matt grabbing a stun onto him, but ladies and gentlemen, Matt could be in some trouble. Goes for the dredge line, now has to be pulled to safety by Deathly. They're making the call to go after the Drake. Matt is going to be chucked back into the wolves. They are using him as the sacrificial lamb. The equalizer will keep them away as the Drake is secured by the side of Evil Geniuses. Anda trying to go over the wall, will successfully do so. Huni forced to flash away now as well. Giyu looking to jump in. Triple going to be taken very low. Big also the same. we'll see how else this is going to play out. Giyu still trying to get himself back out of here. Revenge, 1v2 against Anda and Huni. But now it's Anda going right back in. Ladies and gentlemen, he's able to find the knock-up. He's going to grab the Cataclysm. It's a double kill for Deathly. And FlyQuest is sent home packing. It is 2 kills and a Drake over to Evil Geniuses. You call that one a win in any book.
Absolutely is a win for them. Now, even though they lost Matt right away, when you see how the fight played out, FlyQuest was not as grouped as you would have liked to see. The carries were not necessarily protected for, where you had FlyQuest's jungler looking on the side of the dragon, trying to go for a steal, right? He's thinking we need to stop this dragon train right now. We need to get a steal, but then the control ward spots him. So EG has a really easy time committing to the engage on the side, because if Rek'Sai were to engage, she would have to go into the Rumble or into the Jarvan inside the pit, which would have been disaster. She's too squishy. She has to be going into the backline or peeling for the Irelia. So overall, I think that FlyQuest needs to recognize we need to be a little bit tighter in our grouping, but also not give enough opportunity for EG to engage onto us, because when Irelia jumped in to all those members, you would have loved to have a Rek'Sai right there to immediately knock her up, make sure that she's off her tempo, and when you can get that CC down, hit her with the true damage and the execute, you know that your carries can do just enough damage to take her below the threshold, which almost happened.
Yeah, the Irelia being able to dodge away from the shockwave in that fight was pretty tragic for FlyQuest, not being able to lock her down there. But hey, if you're on the side of Evil Geniuses, if you're a fan of Evil Geniuses, that fight is exactly what you're looking to see. 2,000 gold up now on Soul Point. So now FlyQuest, this is such a difficult situation for anybody who might be behind the times and not understand why this situation is so good for a team to be up 3-0 in terms of these drakes. You're now at a point where your opponents must fight you for every single one of these drakes, because if they don't, you get the soul, which is a huge power. It means a lot. But if your opponents succeed, if they manage to stop you from getting those, for 3 whole drakes, for 15 minutes worth of gameplay, their reward is garbage. It's a single elemental drake, which are not worth nearly as much as they used to be. So it's very high risk, very low reward, but you must do it or you give away a soul. There's so much given to you, so much afforded to you if you play the early game well enough to control those first 3 drakes. And I think this is really big for Evil Geniuses.
It absolutely is. It plays exactly into what they drafted, so they are perfectly on par for their composition. And I also want to draw your attention to the Orianna's build, because we have just spotted our first converted mid laner. Triple is gonna be sporting the Nashor's
baby.
Tooth.
Is this the power of Evil special?
He's been spreading the gospel of the Nashor's Tooth, and Triple is buying it. Give me the pamphlets, give me the food, and he's buying all of it. And I mean, we've heard the logic from when PoE goes for it. When you're dealing with melee champions that are in your face, that guarantee you a ton of auto attack. So this is that time, right? You're dealing with an Orianna, a Jarvan, even the Nautilus, hell, the Rumble, and to an extent, the Kalista, who's going to be in range of you to auto attack down. So I can totally see the logic here. I just want to see it play out, because it's such a rarity to see, as it's really just been a single player advocating for it. We haven't seen it in such a long time out of him, but here we are with Triple once again saying that the dream is still alive.
The dream is still alive, at least for another 45 seconds until that Drake might be taken. But a fight is happening way earlier than that, definitely. Could be in some trouble there. Shockwave gonna find the way onto him. There we go, ladies and gentlemen, that's the ult! And Triple is already down. A double kill over to Giyu as he cleans up Turtle as well. That's definitely going on a killing spree. That's big, not a part of this game anymore. Shutdown credit for Fnatic, grabbing the kill onto the enemy jungler, but that is a 5-for-1. That is exactly what EGA ordered. Beep, beep, boop, boop, beep, beep, boop. Hello, yes. Yes, Summoner's Rift takeout. Yep, I ordered a delivery for 5. Yeah, we'll take it right now. Thank you very much. To go. Here's your tip. Absolutely well done by Evil Geniuses Academy. That's what they were looking for, and the prize is bearing.
Oh, they thought they actually got the jump onto map, but keep in mind, he's got Stoneblade, he's got Aftershock, he's got a Callista to pull him out if things get really hairy, and then Huni comes in to layer it on top. This is what we saw the composition was capable of in the draft, and we actually got to really see it there. I was really hyping up this Orianna and her auto-attacking power from the Nashor's Tooth, but she just got put into a bouncing house. I don't think we even saw a shockwave. She just got deleted. Okay, we did see the shockwave. It was the initial one. I just remembered it, but it didn't do nearly as much as what was done to her.
It was done early when the rest of the team wasn't able to follow up. And now, FlyQuest trying to go after the Mountain Drake, trying to prevent this soul. They're looking for some sort of a silver lining on the dark cloud that is that last fight, that is this Baron take, that is this game. They must prevent this soul from being taken.
Watch Huni. His ult is going to be huge.
Okay, Huni. Where's that ult going to be? Hook not going to do anything from Big right now. As Evil Geniuses have control over the pit, Dredgeline will not find a target. Huni still looking for the chance to drop the equalizer here. Matt going in. Nice shockwave onto 2. Huni down to 20% HP. Good moves coming out from Triple. But now it's Fnatic who's killed before the fight's even able to start. Giyu gets himself away, and the equalizer is just Mountain Wild Turtle down. Shut down onto Deftly before he dies. But will it be enough? Giyu's looking to kite himself away from Revenge, and FlyQuest are still standing tall for now. Big keeps himself alive through the Liandry's burn thanks to the Lantern drop, and Revenge is the key player right now. Still at about 100% HP, that means he's the one in control over the current state of this Drake pit. Huni's still sticking around. Huni's still looking to try to secure this Drake there for his team. Anda's making his way back to the pit as fast as he can. Walking fast, having a blast, and he's homebound. But now, Revenge, he's spread the wings wide again. He's got the World Ender ready to go. It's Huni going over the wall, trying to keep himself alive, firing the harpoon back over the wall. Lantern tossed by Big over to Revenge to make sure that he stays safe. Anda's still sticking around. He's clearing out some wards. Fnatic's making his way back into the fight. Everybody that died is coming back alive. Everybody that didn't die is going back to the base to heal up. And we've still got this Drake being attempted by the side of FlyQuest. It will be secured, and they will stop the soul.
Wow, they are really glad that they was able to stop that. That would have been super difficult to deal with, as now they don't have any summoners, but the Baron buff will wear off, so they don't need to fight for the next 5 minutes. This is a huge breath of fresh air for FlyQuest, because had they lost that, you know EGC is going to straight to dive you in your base, and there's not a lot that they could do without summoners up on their carry. So that is a huge fight, and that opening shockwave was, I think, a huge move by Triple, because it stopped Huni from being able to get into the fight. He had to only provide his equalizer from a distance, and when you have so much gold onto your Rumble and he's not able to actually flame spitter multiple targets as aggressively as he'd like to be, the initial ultimate wears off, and suddenly you're just on the back foot being kited by the Orianna and the Aphelios, who now has that Hurricane Spike, is looking for that Phantom Dancer to stay alive a little bit longer if he gets caught once again. And this is the point where EG was fearing, where you have stalled out that dragon. You know that you have another fight that you can definitely still win, but it needs to be won. Otherwise, Orianna and Aphelios will do their thing. We've seen what Aphelios does when it hits the lake, and Callista cannot do anything to that.
We'll see. We'll see if he's able to build up to his full potential here with this Aphelios. Working towards, as you said, that next Zeal item. Let's see if he can get it online. It's 3 minutes until the next Drake is available, until that next potential for a Mountain Soul for the side of Evil Geniuses. FlyQuest still just holding the line right now. Still just trying to catch up in this really massive gold lead. 6,000 gold in 26 minutes is a pretty big deal, Crumbs, especially when you're up against a team that has this much wombo combo potential.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, the gold right now is going to be harder and harder to actually execute on, though, if it's not in these team fights around Dragon, which is why it's tricky to actually feel like, okay, the gold matters more around these objectives and it matters and less in these turrets, because the only way that EG can actually push now would be through a tower dive, which is what you saw Matt trying to do, throwing a random hook to see if it could catch the Orianna. Otherwise, they need to just sit back and wait. But if you look at the itemization that FlyQuest is going for. You have double stopwatches already. The Phantom Dancer has been completed, and the Aphelios is a huge one here. Like, he can obliterate this Irelia, this Callista, as long as he's kept alive, and his flash is going to be back up. So the combo that we saw him just get drowned in that soup,
Yeah.
he's going to get out, right? He's going to say, no, this jacuzzi's not for me.
And I specifically want to make sure we're also keeping track of which guns he has before the big fight. Remember, the Chakram is the meme gun. That's the one that always causes everybody to spam their Keck W's and just be amazed at what the hell is going on with the damage. Infernum is the one that's going to give him all that AoE team fight power. And if he has the sniper rifle, that's when you're going to see some of those insane picks where it looks like somebody got away, but then he's able to take them down from 1500 range out. So, also, if he has the Scythe pistol, we could potentially see... I mean, Wild Turtle has the reputation for flashing forward. And if you've got the Scythe pistol, that's the weapon that you want to flash forward with, because that gives you that incredible life steal. That gives you the ability to tank it up and just go in and go crazy and do some John Wick-style moves. But there's 1 minute left to go until that Mountain Drake is alive. FlyQuest currently with control over the area. Mooney hanging around on the back side of the pit, and you can see all 10 players moving down towards him.
They need to clear out mid lane ASAP, and I don't think Triple's going to be able to base for a Zhonya's before this fight. It looks like here we go. They're trying to catch on to Big. Anda finds a good ultimate with two.
Anda finds the ultimate, but there's no follow-up here just yet. Gyu looking to dive into the back line now, but he's going to be bursted down. Triple the first one to fall. Huni grabbing the kill on there. Double kill over to Huni. FlyQuest trying to get themselves away, but away they will not be. Fnatic taken down. Triple kill over to Huni. Matt and the rest of the EG squad just waiting for revenge to get out of that stasis so they can beat him down. Ace for the side of Evil Geniuses Academy. Gyu jumping in yet again. I love this guy on Aurelia. He is never afraid. He doesn't care if he's going to be the one dead, because he is the one leading the charge daily, nightly, and ever so rightly. He facilitates a situation where the rest of the team is able to follow up, even though he's looking at a grayscale screen, and that means Evil Geniuses Academy are now pushing on to the Nexus turrets. Those respawn timers are getting awfully low, Crumbs, but are they low enough? Big will run out. He will try to take these guys down in time. It's Nexus focus coming out from Evil Geniuses Academy, and they will take their win 30 minutes into this game.
What a game there. I think that while Gyu was really spectacular in that fight, and there was my MVP there, not only for that last one, the early invade, picking on Fnatic, going for the cheese in the bottom lane, diving the bot lane after, with a two-man Cataclysm on the most important members of the team. Equalizer laid on top of it, then they flash out, then Gyu gets to go in, and then another four-man knockup. Just a beautiful, beautiful Jarvan game. Honestly, like, he is just one of the most impressive junglers we have in the Academy thus far, and this team is ramping up. I gotta tell you, Flowers, I cannot wait for playoffs, best of series, because I don't think we've seen Academy beat this stacked before. And oddly enough, it's not even the LCS veterans that I'm most hyped for. It's the rookies that are just getting it good, getting together and being good.
Yeah, I really liked the fact that in that last fight, we got to see the follow-up from Gyu and Huni specifically, because as that started, I was a little worried for the side of Evil Geniuses Academy, thinking this might be oh, Jarvan got a good engage, but where's the rest of the team? Gyu flashing forward to jump onto them as Huni made sure he dropped the equalizer at max range. Everybody was on the same page. That in-team fight communication was there, and it paid off wonderfully. And now that we're done with these 5 games today, let's go ahead and see how those standings look across the board for the current state of Academy halfway through week number 4.
Ooh, okay. Let's see these.
All right, so we got TSM in sole possession of first place with a 6-1 record. And then, good golly, Miss Molly, that is a 5-way tie for second between 100 Thieves, Cloud9, CLG, EG, and Immortals. And then we've got Dignitas, Golden Guardians tying things up there in 7th place. FlyQuest and Team Liquid rounding it out there at the bottom.
It's hard to say where Immortals, Dig, and 100 Thieves lie because of the roster changes, so I'm not going to touch on them too much. But TSM, EG, and Cloud9 are looking unstoppable right now. I think those three teams just could be the top three that we have. They are just really neck and neck. I could definitely see all three taking games off of each other. And CLG today, well, they just gave us a hell of a show with a very odd composition, but you love them. You love them for it. You love them for trying something new.
Hey,
especially
creativity's fun. It's fun, right? It makes it more entertaining to watch.
Winning
it's a
is
good
more
time.
fun, but
well, yeah, it was. At least we got to hear from Fudge in the interview about how they were so flabbergasted with what was going on in that draft. But hey, the Academy split is going to go ahead and continue tomorrow at 3 p.m. We've got Academy Rush coming up then for you guys, presented by Verizon, where Dash will guide you through 5 games of action simultaneously. My man is a multitasker. We've got C9 Academy going up against Dignitas, TSM opposite CLG, the classic matchup, and 2 more matches before 100 Thieves versus Golden Guardians Academy to round out the week.
Ooh, I'm really excited for the EG Immortals matchup. This is LCS Immortals versus Evil Geniuses Academy that was finalist last split. So this is already a top Academy team looking to square off against a team that had a really hard time closing the game against Team Liquid today. So Team Liquid being the last place team with a very odd draft, I think was not going to compare to what EG just showed us today, which was just ruthless against FlyQuest.
And don't forget, Friday Night League will also return tomorrow with Wild Turtle joining the squad for 100 Thieves versus Golden Guardians. And then we've got CLG versus C9. Cloud9 still 6-0, still undefeated here so far after 3 weeks of Summer Splits play. We'll see who is able to take them down, if anyone. Remember, in Spring Split, this squad only lost that one time to TSM. We'll see if maybe they can make the perfect split happen this time around.
And it looks pretty good, but we also get the debut of Contracts in Poom. Poom is honestly the hero of Academy at this point, going from under Academy to Pro in under 6 months. That's the dream, right? That is the fastest
That is the dream. But that's going to do it for us here today, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you had a good time. On behalf of myself, the casters, the entire remote broadcast crew, thank you so much for watching. We will see you tomorrow for Academy Rush and for Friday Night League. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Have a good rest of your night. Good night.
Good night.